yeah, oh yeah, hara fara hey yeah. Airisteach, Awakening Within. Welcome to this episode of Wholesome and Wild, Folláin Fiáin, with me, Kathleen O'Hara Farren from theedgeschool.net. Welcome, Richie Ross, Aisling Fitzgibbon. Thank you for coming to this podcast, the Wholesome and Wild Folláin Fiáin as Gaeilge. I'm really happy that you're both here, and I know a bit about you, but what I'd like to do is share you with the people who are listening. You on for that?
Absolutely.
Great.
I love to be shared.
It's an overused word, but it's actually, yeah, and share from the heart. Like I invite you to speak from the heart. And this whole topic is a little bit, it may be familiar, but it's not that commonly spoken about in the way that we're going to share about it. So I see you both as pioneers, entrepreneurs. Richie, you're a singer, songwriter, and most successful in that, traveling, and I look forward to hearing your music up here, this end of Ireland.
Thank you.
Yeah, Aisling, I know you as a nutritionist and a wonderful coach, and I've met you through the your health school and your online group. Current, your energy is your currency.
The new name now is Aisling's Health School. It's moved over,
And that's it.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Started as energy is your currency, and
yeah, wonderfully. So, what I'd love to do is give you a chance to share what your feelings are on the two topics. But I also I like to integrate some sort of physical engagement, so that if somebody's listening, it's not just with their head, right? So would you mind treating me with an image from your outdoors nature connection today, or a feeling that you got when you were outside, or something to emanate some beauty that you experienced today?
Yeah, do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Yeah, well, we just went swimming earlier, not long ago, in our favorite beach in Fiáin, and went in swimming, and it just felt so amazing. But as we were walking back, Richie just turned to the sun, and he just spread his hands out wide. So if you, wherever you are right now, just spread out your arms, and if you can look out to the sun, if it's possible, if you can look out a window, and just imagine being at a beach with your feet in the sand, and that feeling of total freedom, and like, this is what life is all about, and just feel into that.
Absolutely lovely. Arms outstretched.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking.
Nobody's watching. Only you and the earth.
Class. And the magnificent sun.
And the mountains.
And the mountains of Kerry.
The Kerry Mountains.
Oh, tell me about the mountains.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Fiáin is
magical.
I toured all over Europe last year, and everywhere I go, like, as you'd always compare it to Fiáin. I'd always go, yeah, nowhere compares to Fiáin.
Yeah. And
you've
does it set on the mountains, or?
Yeah, you've got the ocean, the mountains. The sunset there is amazing. You've got the lighthouse right beside it. Then you have the rocks, and yeah, it's pretty spectacular. And anytime you go down there when the sun is really when it's really warm out and the sun is bright, it's the water's like crystal clear. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks tropical.
Yeah.
And you went in for a dip today?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Also, my hair is actually still has the salty sea in it, so it goes all curly and a bit wild. So I thought it would be appropriate to be wild for this podcast. Yeah. Do you have anything to share, Richie, in terms of like?
Yeah, I was going to share something, but you robbed it. So
did oh well, if another thing features during the chat, absolutely
If you want to come up with
No,
something
I was
else.
going to say that moment we were walking back from the swim, and I was just looking around. I was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is what makes my day, coming down here for a swim and just
It's a highlight.
being able to say you're a part of this amazing world. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
it's no matter, I think no matter how stressed you are,
Or all the stuff that's going on.
It's like whatever you've got going on in your head, or you might feel you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to get this done. And you go down there, it's like you just forget about it. It's amazing. Yeah.
We all need that, don't we?
Oh, it's lovely. I can feel that one already, and I've never been to see it. And I have a question about doing something new. You know, what new things have you done in recent weeks, or new skills that you might have uncovered, or something old that you returned to with the quiet time that we've had?
Richie, do you want to go first?
What new things are you happy to share?
I'll let you go first while I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say new things that I have. Well, I'm going to do two. So one of my newest things that has really made a huge difference in my life has been to start having a early morning rising and going to bed early as well. And that's made a huge difference to how I feel mentally and physically and emotionally, on all levels. So I've set myself a target. I'm on day 8. I'm doing a 66-day challenge with myself to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to bed for around 9:30, 10 p.m. So just creating that solid container for myself has been something that I've been aware of on the periphery for a while, but then it landed in during this time, and I was like, okay, this is the time to just do it. You know, because
so you thought you might do it, and then the time arrived for you to do it.
Yeah. And then in terms of this space of like the quarantine and everything, I've been really focused on creativity, and Richie's been helping me up my skills with like producing videos and filming content like directly into camera, whereas before into like a Canon camera, you know, like a DSLR camera. Whereas before I was always filming onto my phone, and I felt kind of comfortable with that. And it was always outside my comfort zone to film with a camera. So actually doing that has been something I've jumped into, and it's like, it is uncomfortable because it's such a new skill set, but I feel really excited that I'm learning that and continuing to improve my skills on communication and video, and just being able to share the information that I'm teaching with nutrition and holistic practices in a way that's easy to be able to integrate, and that it's not like really, really long, and you know, that it's like nice and short videos. And
Gosh.
Yeah.
You're putting on a few more strings to the bow.
Yeah.
And wearing different hats. Yeah.
Richie wears many hats in this as well, because he's like sets up the camera and the sound and the lights and sound checks, and you know, so it really is a team effort. I think all things are a collaboration.
And it's great when you're doing something new, and like, how many times does it take until you feel comfortable? These are things that you want to do. They didn't just happen. They're that you're seeking. So you're,
What would you say?
I'd say it's more being an observer.
Yeah.
It's more the resistance to actually moving from one way you've been doing something to what's in your eyes more advanced or more technical or more challenging. I think that's the thing you have to overcome, more so than actually becoming you know, like more making it flow better, or making it
perfect or masterful or something.
Yeah. I think it's getting over that thing in your head where it's right, like this might appear as if it's more difficult to begin with, but then you do it, and it's like you do it more and more, and then you realize it's just the thing in your head of actually trying to move from the old way of doing something that you've always said, oh, that's easy, I just go on and do it this way and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
it's
more so.
Said.
Yeah.
What is it?
Hmm?
Yeah, because you called me out, like he was saying to me, oh, we have the equipment, we have all these things, And I was always like reluctant, because I even got like a Canon camera back in 2016, and I used it like once or twice, and I was just so frustrated by the whole thing that I was like, do you know what? I can't cope with it. I'm just going to use my camera.
Yeah, so I think it was easy enough for Aisling to adapt, but to get her to actually move over to the new kind of way of thinking was the hard part.
It was the resistance to
the
change.
The resistance to changing something that you've done for so long.
Yeah, because in my head, it was like, Richie was saying that to me, but in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I already feel overwhelmed by all the things I have to do already. That's just another thing I have to, I felt like it was going to take up more of my headspace. But then as I've done it like multiple times, I've realized it's actually
even quicker.
It's actually even quicker, because I'm refining it down. So
your workflow is better.
Yeah, so I'm not as like woo all over the place. Like Richie's like, okay, you need to prepare your script, prepare what you're going to say, condense it down, cut down all the stuff that you don't need to put in, and just really
listen back to yourself.
Listen back.
The more you listen back to yourself, the more you'll see, right, I don't need to put in all this content, or I need to put in more content, or maybe I can say this better. Or, I think it makes a big difference. So, and then you want to realize it when you do it.
And so, like, on the theme then of for yourself, Richie, what about doing something new?
Oh, you've been doing a lot of newness, haven't you?
Doing something new.
Yeah. What have you done, and what does it feel like?
It feels, what the hell am I doing? It's like, where is this going to go, or where is it going to end, or will anyone even appreciate all the work I'm doing? Or, it's like you have all this talk in your head, but I think you just have to stay focused on, right, you're doing it for a reason. What's the reason? It's one of the big things I've been doing recently is my next album, which is it's going to be fingerstyle guitar and songs, and old Irish songs, and the songs are like really, really, the fingerstyle guitar part is really hard, and then even to sing on top of that is even harder. So I've been working on that album over the last few months, and been arranging the songs and trying to piece them all together. And yeah, I think that's probably the most challenging thing I've been doing. So.
Gosh. And I'm glad you guys go for swims, because it sounds like I mean, you're determined to put new products out there, to put yourself through your products.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, in order to get yourself out to share yourself, it requires this sort of technical thing. And so what enjoyment do you get out of doing new things, or is there another new thing that you might even trying new food is
Oh yeah, actually that's one thing I've been doing, is completely eating different since I came back from Germany.
Right.
I wonder why that is.
The German sausages. Yeah, but I think it's if you push yourself, the way I look at it is, the reason I'm doing it is because I know if I push myself to go beyond just strumming chords, or go beyond, I'd like the idea of someone listening to my music to kind of go, how is he playing that and singing at the same time, and I think it's a level you have to really push for, to then say, well, if I can do that, well, then I can move on to another level, of
mastery, isn't it?
Mastery,
yeah.
Actually, yeah. So the instrument, there's more to the instrument than chords. There's finger picking, just like ourselves. There's more to us, and we just have to explore it and let it.
That's what Richie always teaches me, is like, not that you can't be comfortable where you are, but Richie's always like pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's like that kind of okay, this is where you are, like push beyond that, like it's always like pushing out of the comfort zone. So it's like, okay, where is the kind of edge of my growth that I can grow a little bit further with this, in a way that you can do it, that you can take it on board.
Yeah, that's good, and to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, Richie's always pushing me, aren't you? But your other new thing, Richie, is the van,
Oh yeah,
which is massively new.
I bought a camper, a VW Crafter on Monday, 2013, a long wheelbase. The thing is huge. I don't have a clue about converting campers, and I've literally been researching for the last 2 weeks on how to convert a camper, because when I toured Europe last year, I had a Globetrotter, but it was 30 years old, and it wasn't designed for like every day doing thousands of miles, or every week doing thousands of miles. It was designed for a family to go to the beach and just park up or whatever. So that's the reason I'm going to convert the camper. And it's like, I'm going, what the hell have I just done? But then it's like, I
love it.
yeah, but then I'm going, right, if I don't do this, well, then I can't get on the road and play my album that I've been working so hard on for so many months to as many people across Europe and the world as I can pass it on. It's everything's like kind of locked into each other, and then it's like and then if I don't work hard enough at the camper, well, then Ashley might say, right, I'm heading back to Ireland because this camper's crap. And I'm not living in this.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of motivation. But that's a key thing, just in relation to what you're asking around, like trying new things and, you know, all this. And I think this is, again, something that Richie's taught me through our relationship, is that, like, to trust in the unseen, to trust in something that's calling you.
Big time. Like
what's kind of like within your own self that makes probably zero sense to other people outside of you looking into your life. And to really create like a sacred container in your life that keeps what you're creating safe. So you're not letting like the doubt or the projections of other people to kind of come upon that. Like, you have to be very, very...
You have to be laser focused.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing in life, is just stay laser focused. Everything you do has to be laser focused on one thing. And then, you know, create your life around that with whoever is in your life, and make sure that they're the right person in your life to help you create it. So
yeah, oh, it's a love story.
That's how we met, because we had a really intense conversation like this, you know, and then we both were like, we talk the same language.
We still kill each other.
Oh, we still have our moments.
So fun though. I mean, so what I'm really actually curious now is about the songs that you write, Richie. You know, the theme of this series, this program, is Wholesome and Wild. Okay. So I'd like you to share, if you can, about your music, considering your passion, obviously, about it, and that it brings you joy. And you know, what song would you share, and can you talk about it and how it came to you?
The song I'm going to share with you is Fairy Tales. So it was a song I wrote. So when I was younger, I grew up in like a children's home in Limerick City, and it's basically, the song is all about the idea of growing up in the children's home and kind of looking at life, thinking you don't have that fairy tale, or you don't deserve the fairy tale because of where you are. And that's basically how I came up with that song. I was trying to look at myself from a different viewpoint, so it's not me looking out onto the world, but someone maybe looking at my life. And yeah, so I related that song Fairy Tales to lots of different stories I've heard, like people saying, oh, you know, I let this person slip out of my life and I wonder how it would have turned out, or people telling me different stories, and I've always felt that song's being connected to different people.
It's as in a universal story, or
so it kind of started with me coming from my own experience growing up, but then like talking to my father when I was growing up. He'd tell me some stories, and then I'd often think maybe this could be related to my dad. Like he had a fairy tale, or someone else had, different people have said different stories to me, and I've kind of gone, yeah. Another example is actually Ashling's mum, when she passed away
Just before
2 years ago.
Just before she did.
Just before she passed away. She was in the ICU in Cork hospital, and they turned off the machine because there was no going back. That was it. That was, her time was up. So I grabbed the guitar and I came in, and we actually, Martha, Ashley's mum, she helped me record the video for the song Fairy Tales, because it was her favorite song that on my album. So I had the guitar in the car, and I was thinking, the room was full of people, and I was thinking, will I or won't I, and what will they think? And then at the end I said, you know what, I don't really care what anyone thinks. I'm going to bring the guitar in because I know that it was her favorite song, and if she was looking at me now, she'd say, go and grab that guitar and bring it in and sing me that song. So I brought it in and sang it, and yeah, it was another moment where I kind of went, geez, I'm singing the song that it was almost like it was written from Ashley's mum, because like her fairy tale didn't, it was, as I said, it was just one of those moments, and it was pretty special, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it definitely like elevated the whole space.
Yeah.
And then you sang it again at her funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it was almost like an outer body experience. It was
surreal, actually.
Yeah, I was standing there going, like, is this even real? Like,
Sometimes
I'm singing it.
Music is like that. It transcends the moment, and takes you to that fairy tale kind of imagination. Sounds magic.
Yeah, it was like that song. It was like I wrote the song just to be in that moment.
Great.
It was
well,
pretty.
I'd like to have a
amazing.
listen to it now. So Richie Ross singing Fairy Tale.
It's a crime, your life was but a token, like that old stained photograph on your wall. She caressed your lips with words unspoken. They smile for you, hold your hand as you fall. Those fairy tales they read for you as your sun was going down were almost true pictures on your wall. Were almost true pictures on your wall. Regret, rewind, you might just see it, like that old stained photograph that would fall. With time, the mind will stop believing as they lie for you. Pray to God you'd recall those fairy tales they read for you as your sun was going down. Were almost true pictures on your wall. Were almost true pictures on your wall. tales they read for you as your sun was going down were almost true. Pictures on your wall, those fairy tales they read for you as your sun was going down were almost true. Pictures on your wall were almost true. Pictures on your wall were almost true. Pictures on your
Beautiful. That was Fairy Tales, composed, sung, and produced by Richie Ross. In your life, wholesome experiences, and in your work, wholesome experiences. That's what I'd like to hear. Maybe Aisling, you could share a little bit about that. Wholesome to me would be like whole being. Your whole body is involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe your work is your life, or your life is your work.
Yeah.
So maybe there's no division between them. Yeah, wholesome or wild.
I think I'll go with wholesome, because I suppose that was the kind of the foundation of my life with my mom, was all about being wholesome. And she kind of was somebody who, you know, even like when I went to school, I'd have my lunches, I'd have like salads, and I'd have loads of carrot sticks, and, you know, people in my class would have, you know, sandwiches and crisps and things like that, and they would look at me strangely. And I remember being told I was a rabbit one time, and you know, you're eating like a rabbit basically, and I was horrified. But everything that my mom imbued into my childhood, and also just growing up, was like this feeling of wholesomeness, not just from healthy foods, but also just in the space and environment that she created. For example, like, she always was like, you know, she would have absolutely loved to meet you, Kathleen, because she, even though she was a teacher, she really loved the whole concept of Steiner education, and she wanted to send me to a Steiner school, but there were none in our area in the UK where I was when I was born. And but she was really like, she had books on like deschooling society and all of this. So my dad would have been more conservative, so he was kind of like, oh, you know, want me in school. So anyway, my mom used to say to me, you know, on a day, do you want to just have a fun day? And I'd be like, yeah, of course. So we'd like pack up a picnic, and we'd go off like walking in the reservoirs. It was near where we lived, or we might go to a yoga class. But it was just this feeling of like freedom and free spiritedness that my mom imbued into my life and carried that through. And Richie, you had that experience with her as well.
Yeah.
And then when she passed 2 years ago, it's like I realized, okay, she's not here anymore physically. So I have to tap into that sense of wholesomeness within my own self and bring that into caring for my own self every day. And that's been a life's practice. And that's why I extend that into my work. So my work is an expression of that. And so everything I do is in the practice that I'm cultivating and sharing from that place of that fullness that I want to pour out then into others who are open to this path.
That's like you got the wholesome and wild in one.
My mom was definitely wild spirited as well.
Yeah.
Even though she was a school teacher, she used to say, you know, burn the books, and she'd be telling students like the curriculum, you know, the history books are written by the victors, and don't believe everything you read. And, you know,
I'm so glad she said all that, because so few people do, but so many people actually know this.
well, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, ourselves, you know, we did the fluoride campaign, and my mom started that in the school, and, you know, talking out against things like that.
Yeah, fluoride, that was an amazing period.
Yeah.
For you and your mom. And yes, I would have loved to have met her.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. You'd have a great
it was,
time.
she was working in the mainstream, and she was quite quite independent thinking.
Yeah.
And intuitive, and yeah.
All those things. But I think we definitely came to that conclusion. And I've spoken to you about this so many times, Kathleen, that it's like, instead of fighting against the system, fighting against reality, that it's about being able to really come back to our own power and be able to co-create a new reality, using the problems as like signposts for how far we've veered away from nature, how far we've veered away from connection with each other, with a connection with ourselves. Because it's so easy to get sucked into all the many problems that are happening on the earth right now. So that's where I feel this practice of wholesomeness and wildness is so important, because there's so much noise out there, there's so much distraction, that it's hard to connect to your true self when you're being pulled in all these directions. So that's why for us, like, spending so much time in nature isn't just a luxury, it's like an essential part of unplugging from that, what we don't really want to see, and actually connecting to what is real and what we want to be creating for us and for the legacy that we want to leave behind.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Oh yeah, it feels the best.
And what about you, Richie? The when I say wholesome and wild, do you see it in your life?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I see wholesomeness when I'm sitting down in a really cold January evening and the fire's on and I have the turmeric latte and I'm snuggled up beside Aisling. We're watching a Netflix movie. And I also see it when I'm off, when I'm playing music for people. How much I can bring so much happiness and joy and make people forget their troubles and worries in life. I think it's one of the most amazing experiences I get to experience and feel when I'm especially when I'm touring. It's almost like I'm in a flow. Yeah. and I can almost sense what people want to hear or what way the show is going to go, and it's it's pretty wild too.
Yeah, it sounds like being like in very much in the moment.
Yeah.
Like you're in the flow, you're open to whatever they're, what you sense from the audience, and that you have a lot to give through the music. And it's just a wonderful, relationship between the listeners, and they're participating as well.
Absolutely. I've played some gigs where people have stood up in the middle of them after a couple of songs and they've started like speaking German to the crowd, and I'm going, oh, what the hell's going on? And then someone else stands up and passes them a hanky. And then I'm like, all right, that means I can just completely give my entire self to this audience and not worry about anything and just
because they were touched by your words.
Yeah, it was just because obviously they're feeling what I'm singing, so I'm, because it's sometimes when you're playing music for people, you don't know how they're going to receive it, and then when you understand that they're 110% into listening and they appreciate.
Yeah, maybe maybe there's a wildness in that, wild that's gentle and massive, like a big heart wild, like wild as in natural, where people have see the an opportunity to be free, in their expression.
That's it. Absolutely, because like particularly, it's you're going from so many different venues, or you're going from different like scenarios and different energies from one night to another. And I think that is like, it's like sometimes I used to have to stop and go, how the hell am I doing what I'm doing? You know, it's like, because you have to like connect with a whole different bunch of people on a separate night in a separate location, and it's like sometimes I'm going, how am I actually making this happen? You know, but I think it's just because it's what I'm supposed to do. So
Yeah,
you know,
it's your path.
It sounds like you're an anchor as well for something, anchoring, you know, just
Oh yeah,
consistently.
and when you get that feedback, you know, when you get that real like I had a couple contact me during my tour, and it was the guy of the couple, and he sent me an email saying, could you like maybe record a song and send it to us, because he'd broken up with his I think it was his girlfriend at the time, and he just wanted to say to her how much he wanted her back and stuff, and she was at the two of them were at my gig, and I was just like, that's so mad that like that the power of music, that he could feel like just send me an email and that and anyway they
That's
got
an
back
amazing story.
they got back together, and he sent me pictures of them at the restaurant after having dinner, and she was on the iPad with the earphones watching the video and stuff, and it's like that's what I live for, you know. It's like being able to, I think that's what makes me whole, what it shows me that this is my purpose, and this is everything I'm living for, you know. It's like to be able to bring people together, to be able to make someone feel like they can reach out and touch a mother or grandmother or someone that they've missed, they haven't seen in their lives, or you know, or get that feeling that they've missed, or that's been absent from their lives for so long. That's what makes it wholesome for me. And
yeah, that what are you saying? Are you saying like that you yourself are the I'm just trying to understand the grandmother or reaching out for something that's not been there. Like, are you creating your own?
But it's different for everyone. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, what I love is
I
like,
thought we were going to go to a mad metaphysical moment there.
Yeah, so did I was like, where is this going now?
no, it's like, because for everyone in that audience, you know, it's like the way I look at it is it's what everyone's feeling is different. So you know, it's but for me that's like a really wholesome experience, that the power of music it affects people in different ways. But I'm there, I'm the facilitator to,
You're the conduit.
I'm to ignite it or to bring it out, or
Yeah. But it's like, because I always say this to you, I always tell Richie that, you know, he's a healer through music. So it's like, because everything's coming through his soul. It's, you know, it's really connecting to the infinite coming through you. It's like you're as you said, a facilitator of that. And then when you're holding that space and creating that concert with connecting with everyone, they're able to access whatever was in them that needed to heal or come to the surface, or, you know, be cried out, you know, because you said a lot of people in Germany who obviously have had a lot of, you know, they would find it harder to access their emotions. There's a lot of, you know, trauma from their history, that you would open up a lot of people in Germany, you know, as in they'd really connect to your music. And I think that's why they have that real affinity with it.
That's amazing. More encore. So just wrapping up, I wondered about, I was thinking of you and I, Aisling, were chatting recently, and I was talking about your health school and how much I've enjoyed being in the, you know, the membership, and I said that you're a very good influence on me. And then I wondered about, I was thinking specifically about your mum being a good influence on you. And I'm a mum, and one of the things that I find is that I see that I would like the children to eat more healthy food, and I'm asking this because it's an issue, and I let go of wanting something else, and yet at the same time I'd love if they tried something like carrot sticks or something. So do you remember anything about your mom's influence on you and how it worked, you know, to encourage you to eat healthily?
Yeah, I was thinking of that question about like what was my kind of earliest memories that really influenced me. And again, my mom never was never preaching at me about like, you have to eat this, you have to eat this. So it was very much like, no, obviously there was a certain point where she would interject, but like it wasn't all the time, you know, it wasn't the whole conversation. It was more like she'd prepare like healthy desserts. I remember she used to make her own like ice creams and stuff like this with bananas and, you know, kind of stuff that most people wouldn't do at that time. But I would say it was more of a case of the fact that she was always doing that herself. So I was always seeing that. So it wasn't like at home, I would have like all the homemade stuff, and, you know, my dad would sometimes buy biscuits at Christmas and he would call me upstairs and be like, don't tell your mom that we have these biscuits. Yeah. And I'd be like, I won't say anything. And then I was saying to Richie, I was like, I used to go down to a neighbor's house and I used to ask her, my best friend when I was young, Haley, I used to say, can we have an eating competition? You know, like we could eat whatever in her cupboard and how fast we could eat it. So I'd pick out like all the chocolate bars and whatever.
All the Cadbury's.
All the processed foods that I could get my hands on. But it was like, my mom was always just like, oh, you know, how did that make you feel? And stuff like that. She'd be kind of saying, but I remember when I was 6, coming home from a party and just realizing how sick I felt because I ate like loads of sweets. And I just wrote in my diary like that I wasn't going to do it again. It was like a declaration to myself, like I felt really ill. And but then again, it was like, I think as a teenager, it's harder because it's like you push against that then what your mother or your father is kind of saying. So I definitely would have pushed back. Now I would have been eating, you know, as much healthy stuff as my mom could get into me at the time, but it was actually more of the seeds that she planted along the way, that then as I became like into my early adulthood, even around like, you know, 2021, I just started to like really crave all those foods. And all of a sudden it was like, you know, because it's like as you're individuating as a teenager, you'll naturally push back against like what your parents are saying or doing. Mm-hmm. So I think my mom kind of knew that in a way, so she didn't want to like make food a big thing, you know. But it was like she would always be there with her like healthy things.
So you always knew there was an alternative to
all the other stuff.
Which is, it was kind of ingrained into you. Right?
There's another way. It was like those seeds were planted, and then all of a sudden they just became so big that I couldn't even go along with the way. So it was like I just started to naturally go over myself. And when I was in college, I went to university in England, in Manchester, and I remember saying to my friends, like my favorite thing to do was actually go to like a fruit and vegetable shop and just hang around the vegetables and just like look at them and pick up the healthiest looking vegetables that I could find. And so it was like I was called back into it. So I feel like that, and I've spoken to different people that are, you know, in the health world similar to myself, and they're like, yeah, you know, it's if you make it, you have to. And it's like, this is good, this is bad. The teenager definitely will rebel. So it's about just kind of like having that compassion that it's like every soul is on their own journey and they have to individuate, but it's about kind of having that as the baseline, as what you're modeling, and you're kind of creating that space. And then it's more inviting because it's not, you know, as we know metaphysically, it's like whatever you try to impose your will on somebody, I know it's a form of black magic, and it just goes the other way, especially with a teenager. Because if you're told don't eat that, you'll be like, I'm going to eat that. Do you know?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, I must admit, when I try new recipes from the different courses that you're offering, I love it. I love the experience of trying something new.
Yeah.
And then I love to learn that particular type of food or that particular vegetable is good for this part of your body, mm-hmm. or that part of your body, or, you know, so it does take time. And and I mean, I'm not really worried, but it was something. So I wondered about good influences.
But I think it's like that whole saying, which you probably heard, you know, people hear this all the time, that it's like you become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So it's like that influence that you're around might not necessarily come into like your own life's like day-to-day practice straight away, but it starts to seep in the same way as I've been hearing so many people, even Richie, talking about the benefits of getting up early. Richie even got the book, The 5 a.m. Club, and that was where the 66-day challenge came from, because it's all about implementing new habits. So sometimes these things have to hover in your awareness for a while. Like I've known this for the past, at least, I would say 4 years, but I was resistant to it, you know? So
yeah,
sometimes it just takes time as well, you know?
Well, here's a laugh. I got up at 6 this morning.
Really?
I mean, I often will get up and maybe go back to sleep again, but I was up at 9 o'clock. I looked at the clock. I thought, I've got a lot done already.
It's really good. It's a lovely feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and Richie, what about you? Good influences growing up.
Good influences growing up. Well, I've had a lot of
growing up.
I've had a lot of foster mothers.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow.
So, yeah, I've got what? Before the age of 4 years of age, I think I was in maybe 6 different foster homes.
Wow.
If not more. And then after that, I've stayed in touch with like 2 of my foster parents, their families and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so they would have been a good influence on me.
Yeah. You know, inspiration as well as another, you know, people can inspire you, mountains can inspire you, sunshine and
yeah.
But Richie, what about the guy that you had that actually taught you guitar? The guy who actually taught you guitar?
He was
a huge influence.
I begged him, because when I was in the children's home in Limerick, it was like a unit on the grounds of the old convent there. It's now the biggest art college in Ireland. It's the National Art College for the university. But this guy, he was a teacher, and I think he knew he was either an ex how would you say, he was like, he grew up in Care, and he used to come back and visit. But anyway, we used to go out. We used to take like 2 or 3 of us out at the weekends, and we'd head off and do all different mad sports and do amazing stuff like. And then he used to play the guitar, so I begged him for about a year to get me a guitar, and eventually he gave me my first guitar when I was like, I think I was like 10 or 11. And yeah, so he was a major influence.
So you've been songwriting ever since.
Yeah, sounds like you really appreciate. Yeah,
I think I actually cried. I was like, give me the guitar.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But Richie's music is really an expression of his soul, and just, you know, because he's had such a challenging like early years, that it was like the music was the healing, and you know, you can feel that depth of it, of the emotions when you listen into it. And one of the lines in Strange Mentality, one of the songs, is the music in your soul will set you free.
You know, that's such an invitation to connect with your soul, and your cute little inner child. You can go out and play now that it's safe, you know. Yeah.
But I've had so many influences growing up. Yeah.
It's the ones who speak with love, or who connect with compassion, that probably.
Yeah, it's like one of my foster mothers. She was, last time she was in Ashley's, she was telling her.
Oh yeah.
It was I was in the children's home when up until the age of 14, but a year prior, I think maybe 2 years, I called her son had a birthday party, so I stayed at their house for a night for his birthday, and then that was the first time I met her, and I was sweeping her floor or whatever, and then 2 years later I ended up actually moving into their house because she fostered me. But she was telling like Aisling that she had like this dream. What was she saying?
Well, she had a vision. Was it a dream or a vision?
A vision.
A vision. An actual angel visited her and told her that she had to foster Richie.
Yeah.
And she actually was like in tears telling me the story, because she just said,
Was she?
yeah, she said it was like, she said most people wouldn't believe her, but she said it was as like she could see it, and she can see, you know, she can see the unseen realm. And she just said like it came in and it told her, and it was just like she was guided to take him on, and you know, and bring Richie into their family. And
it was very unusual, because like
very unusual.
once like you don't, especially when you're in childcare, for a child to be taken out at the age of 14 and fostered by some random family is like
unheard of.
It just
really
doesn't happen. So even at that age, I could have remembered that the amount of resistance to me leaving, you know, by the whole system, and even the childcare workers,
they didn't want you to leave.
the social workers that reminded me. It was like, how is this happening?
But Elsie, his foster mom, told me that they didn't want Richie to leave because he was such a good influence on the other children.
There you go.
Because he has a very calming, centered presence. He's very centered, very contained within his own self. But yeah, Elsie was like a total earth angel herself.
Yeah.
You know, and that she really gave Richie
Absolutely.
a fantastic new trajectory. You know,
she saved me. She put me on a complete different path.
But also she had like unconditional love for Richie, and that she let Richie like be wild, actually, didn't she? She let you be wild.
She put a lot of belief into me, and she made me believe in, you know, my worth or my value in life, and that.
And then you ended up, well, Richie left school, and then because she got help. Well, she applied for a scholarship for you, and Richie got a scholarship, and he actually went back to, because he dropped out of school. And then you went back and he qualified as a physiotherapist, so he got a scholarship to train as a physio.
Yeah, she actually got me a scholarship.
Who was it from again? JP
McManus.
Yeah.
So someone valuing you because you showed you were able to be yourself with them, and then
unconditional love, I think.
Lovely.
Is it?
So what would you?
She allowed you to be yourself.
Yeah. So now that we've shared and expressed our true selves, what would you wish for the future, for yourselves and for the world? Like really, you know, visioning and dreaming. And
you go first, Richie.
Healthy babies.
Healthy babies. No, what would you, apart from, go on, fill it in again. Healthy babies.
The most amazing life together. I'd like just happiness, joy. I'd like peace. And I'd also like to make healthy babies that can actually bring change to the world we live in.
Yay.
That's why he's doing all the juicing now and everything. Yeah, my vision is similar, and it's really creating a pace of life that's centered around health and wellness, and not the other way around. So creating that within our own lives, that's how we practice right now, and then being able to have our family and bring that into their world, and for the world as well, is to be able to, you know, again, it's like what Richie's talking about with his music. It's about being able to be an example that you can follow what is within you. You don't have to diminish or like hide who you are. Like you can actually bring that out. And I think that is the greatest gift. And I think if more and more people step into that, the people that are going to be called into that, then it's going to be so much easier. And I think so many problems in the world are due to our disconnection with our true selves, and moving beyond the programming of separation, and being able to create a healthy world that we start that connection back to ourselves, and that connection to each other and to the earth, and to really radically change the pace of life on earth. And I think this whole situation with the lockdown has really kind of given us this time to reflect on that and to actually realize how much of that busyness within like that linear time busyness is just not serving us. It's not serving the earth. And yeah, we need to be able to be healthy so that we can create that change within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that wholesomeness, and we need that wildness within us, you know, because I think the wildness to me speaks to like the soul, and it's like the unknown, and that coming through is really what brings that change. So it's not that you have to have all the answers right now or feel like you have to have it all figured out, but it's that we open ourselves up to the soul, to the unknown, and for that to bring through the new vitality and the new ideas and the new innovations that need to come in that will serve. And that's the path that I'm dedicated to.
It's so amazing that the both of you have shared so from the heart, from the soul, and that your life's examples have been exactly what we're talking about, which is you don't know what's going to happen next, and if you're open to it, it's a gift, you know. So it's been a gift to me for you to have your company and your music, and
Thanks.
you know, it's been really pleasant and to share across the airwaves. But also I wanted to say I'm looking forward to your book when it comes out, From Fear to Trust. Aisling, that'll be a good one.
Oh yeah, I'm almost finished that now, so hopefully that won't be too long.
It'll be another day's chat maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Richie Ross.
Thank you very much.
Fitzgibbon. And is there websites that if anybody wanted to find you?
Yeah, mine's richieross.com.
And mine is ashlingfitzgibbon.com. So
Yeah.
both of our names. And I'm just after realizing how wild my hair is actually looking. So there you go.
There you go. Well, it's a first for me to do this recording, so we'll see if it works.
Cool.
Thanks for joining the Wholesome and Wild podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kathleen. Bye.
Hey, let's wrap up with this bonus composition sung by Richie Ross, Running Away.
Autumn leaves falling, skies turn gray, memories fading from view, trying to find your way. Keep on running, still here running away, running away. What are you running for? Thrown it all away. Yeah. When I saw you yesterday, and oh God, my God, what a shame. What a shame. Summer breeze hits your back almost every day.